Have you ever bought something secondhand and felt like it already carried someone else's story? It started with a trip to a thrift store. I wasn't looking for anything special, just browsing, wasting time. But then I saw this jacket. Old school, kind of retro. Faded navy blue, heavy material, stitched patches on the elbows. Worn, but still solid. Something about it felt familiar. Or maybe it just stood out in a sea of cheap polyester. I tried it on. Perfect fit. Like it was made for me. There were no tags, just a small, faded label on the inside, Ridgewear USA, 1987. I bought it for $8 and walked out feeling like I scored a bargain. That night, I wore it while making dinner. I didn't take it off. It was comfortable. Heavy in a way that made you feel grounded. But when I sat down later and crossed my arms, I felt something. A lump. Inside the lining. Left side. Just under the armpit. At first, I thought maybe it was extra padding or stitching. But it was too firm, too solid. Curious, I turned the jacket inside out, feeling along the seam. And then I saw it, a few stitches in black thread that didn't match the others. Rough. Messy. Hand-sewn. My hands were trembling before I even knew why. I grabbed a pair of small scissors, took a deep breath, and started cutting. It wasn't easy, like whoever sewed it didn't want it found. But eventually, the thread gave way, and I reached in. And pulled out a small, folded piece of paper. Yellowed, thin. Like it had been there a long time. I hesitated. My heart was pounding. This wasn't normal. I unfolded it slowly, my fingers shaking. The handwriting was cramped, rushed. Written in pencil, smudged at the edges. If you're reading this, call the police. He's watching me. I read it 3 times. My skin went cold. I looked around my apartment like someone might be standing there, watching me through the walls. It had to be a joke. Right? Just some twisted prank. A story someone sewed in for fun. But then again, who sews a warning into a jacket? I held the note under the light, trying to read it again, hoping for a clue. A name. A number. Anything. Nothing. Just that sentence. I didn't sleep that night. Not because of the note, not really. Because of the feeling I got while wearing that jacket. Like I'd stepped into someone else's skin. And they hadn't made it out. The next morning, I stared at the jacket on my chair like it was something alive. I didn't wear it. I didn't even touch it. But the note, it stayed in my pocket. Folded and soft now from how many times I'd read it. If you're reading this, call the police. He's watching me. I couldn't stop thinking about who wrote it. And why. I told myself it was probably fake. A prank. Some teenager's idea of a joke. But part of me couldn't let it go. There was something too raw in the handwriting. Too desperate. So, I decided to check. First step, the store. I went back around lunchtime, same cashier as before. I held up the jacket. Hey, do you remember who dropped this off? She looked at it, squinted. No clue, sorry. Stuff just shows up. People leave boxes, sometimes whole car trunks full. Any chance I could check when this was logged in or something? She gave me a look. This isn't Target. We don't really do logs. Dead end. But I wasn't done. That night, I turned the jacket inside out again and started searching for anything else. A name. A label. Even a scent. There was nothing. Until I looked into the right pocket, the lining had a tiny tear. I pushed my finger through and felt something stiff. Another piece of paper. I pulled it out. A photo. Polaroid. Faded. It showed a young woman. Blonde hair, maybe late 20s. Wearing the jacket. Smiling. But the smile, it looked forced. Her eyes were wide. Like she was being told to smile. Like someone was standing behind the camera. There was a date scrawled in the corner. April 17, 1991. That was over 30 years ago. And on the back, in the same pencil as the first note, were 2 words. Still here. That night I had a dream. The same woman, standing at the foot of my bed. Not smiling. Not blinking. She lifted her hand, and pointed at the jacket draped over the chair. I woke up choking on air. Sweating. The room was ice cold. When I turned to look at the jacket, it had fallen to the floor. I don't remember doing it. I don't even smile like that. It wasn't mine. It was something wearing my face like a mask. Then the footage cut to black. 7 minutes missing. When it came back, I was asleep again. I tried to leave. I packed my bag and ran to the door, but it wouldn't open. The locks turned, but the handle wouldn't move. I tried breaking a window. The glass wouldn't crack. It was like the place didn't want me to leave. Or maybe I didn't want to leave. Maybe I wasn't fully in control anymore. I started to wonder if I could be pushed out of my own body. Who was inside when I wasn't? It wasn't haunting me. It was replacing me. Every night it stayed longer. Every morning I felt less like myself. My memories were starting to fray. I'd wake up with cuts on my hands, dust in my mouth, or the bitter taste of something burnt. But I hadn't cooked in days. And I began seeing things in reflections. Not movement, delays. I'd turn my head and the mirror me would be a second late, still staring forward, eyes wide open. Smiling. That smile was the worst part. Too wide. Too intentional. One morning, I found a note on the table in handwriting just like mine, but not mine. It read, "You had your turn. Rest now." My handwriting. Signed with my name. I ran to the bathroom. Looked in the mirror. And for a split second, the reflection smiled before I did. Then the light bulb above me exploded. The apartment groaned. Not creaked, groaned. Like something shifting deep in the walls. I tried to scream but couldn't. My throat was locked. My voice, not mine. Something echoed back, something trying to use it, badly. I collapsed. Curled on the floor. Cold. Dizzy. And for a moment, I was outside myself, looking down. My body still. Eyes open. Someone else was inside it. They turned my head. And I saw myself. Just for a second. Then I slammed back in. It felt like being swallowed. When I woke up again, hours had passed. I had blood under my nails. The sink was filled with black water. The cameras were gone. And so was the lease. I woke up on the floor. Sunlight streamed in. No broken light bulb. No blood. No note. Just morning. My apartment looked normal. Clean. Silent. My phone buzzed. Messages from friends. "Where were you last night?" "We waited by the woods." "You okay?" "The woods? What woods?" My mind felt scraped clean. No pain. No fear. Just confusion, like waking from a dream that ended too clearly. I opened the fridge. It was stocked again. My bag was by the door, unopened. And yet, something was wrong. The apartment felt full. Like someone else was in the room, just out of sight. I spun around. Nothing. I opened every drawer. Every closet. Checked under the bed. Empty. But the air was heavy. And then I noticed something. There were 2 toothbrushes in the bathroom. 2 mugs on the sink. An extra pair of shoes by the door, bigger than mine. Muddy. And in the bedroom mirror, for just a second, I saw a second shape behind me. Still. Watching. Too tall. Smiling. I turned. Gone. But the fear didn't leave. I laughed. A dry, cracked laugh. "It was just a dream," I whispered. But deep down I knew. It had never been a dream. It had been a test. And now, whatever it was, it lives here too. And it's not leaving.